What is up, everybody? Alright. Got some lovely music playing in the background tonight from one of my favorite games, Final Fantasy XII: The Zodiac Age. Definitely going to... might switch that up at some point, if only to not be using it too much. But we're going to be playing some Explorer tonight. We have, of course, tonight being our solo stream, we'll be jamming some Explorer. Honestly, I forgot what decks we'd be playing. That's right, Rakdos Sacrifice and Orzhov Midrange. We trying these out a bit. And then, of course, this Thursday, got the budget battle. I feel like I've decided on, I'm thinking Angel Tribal. And then the, wherever that, oh, that's right, I haven't actually put it into Arena yet. I'm also, not this Angel Tribal, the one we looked at on my Moxfield account, which I will have to pull up here. There we go. I've decided on playing this Angel Tribal deck as one deck. Just really interested in really just kind of the shell here that we're running to really explore is Giada plus Legion Angel, and then just seeing kind of what fits in around that. And then I think my other deck is going to end up being for this week. Let's do this. Ooh. It's going to end up being this Orzhov Greasefang deck, which just looks like a lot of fun. So, very excited to try this out. Alright, so yeah, those will end up being my decks for the week. So if Drabby Noops, you're watching out there, you got a little taste of what's coming for you. You can find my Moxfield account in the description of the latest Snapshot YouTube video. So, of course, and if you want to stay up to date when I post that video now every Sunday. We'll be doing a weekly snapshot. If I'm out of town, it may get pushed back to Monday nights, but, where I'll be talking about how my last week went, what my week upcoming looks like, decks I'm thinking about playing, I'll have links to my Moxfield account, so you can actually see not only the decks I talk about, but all of the decks that I've been tracking on there, and I'll be tracking even more, especially for my tabletop play. But let's dive in. I want to try out these two decks today. So Rakdos Sacrifice is definitely an archetype that should surprise nobody that I want to play. Very straightforward. I'm starting here. This could be built, I feel like, a whole lot of different ways. So we're going to try it out a bunch of different ways. Oh, interesting. Can't hear anything. Interesting. Yeah, I'm showing my audio is coming through. Is it just coming through super faint? How's my audio? Right, I think that might explain it there, Drabby Noobs. Yeah, we just did an audio check, and sounds like my audio is coming through, but we're gonna be starting here. I feel like these decks could be built a million different ways. So, like, a card that you don't see here, but I feel like we could be playing is Scrapheap Scrounger. There's definitely a card that's on my radar for a deck like this, because it's, again, just like these 2-mana 3/2s. It also synergizes really well with things like Oni Cult Anvil, so it's a card I'm very interested in playing, but I'm gonna start here. Oh, no, you're good to go, Drabby Noobs. We're gonna start there, and just more of a, see if the, we've tried the Jund, like, where it's definitely more of a mid-range deck with the same sort of shell, but I want to see if, like, the cat oven mayhem devil stuff really plays in with it. Ooh. Excuse me. How's everybody doing tonight? Ooh. This is definitely this is a rough one. I've got exactly, I think, 8 ways to sacrifice these creatures. And, well, I guess 11 ways. I think I can keep this. Chances are we're up against, like, some kind of Winota deck, and even if we aren't, like... Alright, I feel like we'll play Shambling Ghast. If they were holding up Fatal Push, that's, like, the thing I wouldn't mind them killing, so... Okay, opponents, okay, they're just on, like, generic Rakdos mid-range. I'm gonna put the Cauldron Familiar away. Alright, land, that's not fantastic. We've drawn land, which is, feels about right. My 22 land deck, yes. It's fine. Over the weekend, I managed to flood in... Oh, I think that'd be a perfect place. I feel like one of the things that's really cool now... Oh, that's brutal. That's really cool right now with the, like, with these Rakdos decks, is that you finally have, like, a mythic you can build around with Ob Nixilis. Where, like, we didn't really have, like, a build around mythic before. Like, you had Kroxa, but, like... Oh, that's pretty savage. This card's really good against us. But, feels like Ob Nixilis adds, like, an extra edge to the deck, and, like, in like, a good way. Well, they're gonna get to eat it either way, so I might as well do this. Get some cards out of it. I don't feel like we can beat this card if it gets going too long, so I imagine we're just gonna lose to it, but... So here they get to eat our Tenacious Underdog. And we just got, you know, nothing going on. Another one. It's pretty brutal. Alright, we'll play a Harvester. And I feel like, play the Anvil here. This makes it so these can't even attack now. Because I can profitably trade, but... I mean, not to say that they wouldn't just attack us here, but, like, still. So I don't like these Castle Locthwain, like, these decks don't, like, these Rakdos mid-range decks, like, I think this is a good card, it's just they don't actually play a lot of swamps. And you see this in a lot of Pioneer versions of this deck, because they get to play, like, just, like, play Urborg. Like... Which is a really, really big difference, we'll say. I'm gonna sack the treasure. No, I get the 1/1 regardless. Play one of these cats. I'm gonna grip the other one. But I just want to flip these back over. So I would rather they be 3/3s than 4/4s, naturally. I'll tell you something, though. On the topic of this card, now that I'm playing more, like, tabletop-wise, right? I've had, like, the pleasure of playing with day-night cards. And I'm going to say that I'm not really a big fan of having to track day and night all of the time for the rest of the game. Please attack me. That's fair. That's pretty much free for them, I think. Yeah, you got it. And we're gonna... I think I'll just do a single block here. Could have gone for the double block, and it probably would have been fine. I'm gonna do this now so that I have access to as much mana as possible next turn. Ob Nixilis, huh? Don't exactly have a way. Why don't I go like this? I'm gonna attack for 2. They're gonna block 1, it's free. Actually, they may not block any of them, to be fair, but... yeah, I'll sack the one they're blocking, right? Yeah. Let's get our chip damage in. It's pretty relevant. This deck, chip damage, very important for a deck like ours. Now, it's a little awkward that this could let them get their Kroxa out, but I actually think what we're going to do is this one's going to make a devil. They've got 4 cards in their graveyard, and 2 of them are Kroxas. So I feel like this can plus pretty comfortably, and either way we're gaining life here, so that's good for us. We'll play this. We'll play a Shambling Ghast. Opponent does not have any profitable attacks, which is good for us. Awkward mana over there, bud. They were smart. They hit the token. Very important to hit the token there. Well, this is just deal 2. Apparently they don't want to play anymore. Alright, so it's definitely actually not a matchup that I plan around too much, mostly because these Rakdos decks don't seem all that amazing. At least, like their mid-rangey decks. So I think here it's on abilities, spells and abilities, and they got the Kroxas. So I guess let's determine what we don't like about our deck here. Feels like we can trim a cat. Ovens are still good because they're going to enable these things. Shambling Ghast is fine, but not amazing. Epicure is fine. Might trim more of these ones. I think here I'm on the draw. I think I'm willing to like bring in these like mid-range threats against our opponent, as well as some hand disruption. We could bring in Leyline, but their only piece of graveyard like technology is the Kroxa, so it may not be worth our time. I am not as high on the Unlucky Witness, bringing in such expensive cards. There's not a whole lot of small creatures. I do think we'll bring in the Fatal Push. I can enable Fatal Push to kill those 3-drops if I have to. And it wouldn't realistically be all that difficult. I think I'm going to cut one more Shambling Ghast. I think I'll even cut 2 Mayhem Devils. Oh, I agree. I'm a huge fan of the Ob Nixilis. Matter of fact, where are they? I already own 4 of them in paper. That's how much I believe. This is a good hand. Got a lot to like here. So, gonna lead. I think we're just gonna lead on. We'll lead on Shambling Ghast. Could start attacking for 1 next turn. Could get punished if they, like, palmed a Thoughtseize, but I doubt... Oh, they just have straight-up Duress. That's fair. Got punished, but that's fine. A little brutal. Start chipping in. Play the Sulkenzon. Play a Voldaren Epicure. I think here I'll even play the Shambling Gas. Just have a bunch of these little guys on the battlefield here. Fable the Mirror Breaker, sure. Attack for 2. There's no free block here, so we're just sort of just getting our value. Dump this Blightstep pathway. Wow, we've drawn a good number of lands in this deck with 22 lands. 6. Kept a, what, a 3-lander? Yeah, kept a 3-lander. We've drawn, or a 4-lander maybe? No, we kept a 3-lander. Savage. Oh, Takenuma on the battlefield. That's not what our opponent wants. They did, in fact, not pitch anything to Fable, though. That's a terrifying sign. 2 red mana. The hell? Ball Bone Crusher, just sure. No blocks. Are you kidding me? That is... Honestly, that is as bad as it gets. Like, the fact we've flooded kind of twice now. To be honest, we didn't have any business winning the last game like we did. Our opponent just sort of like gave up on playing. Sure. They get to go Fable into Bone Crusher. This game's over, just, you know, quite frankly. Yep, attack for 2, it's free. You're a Trespasser, I'm willing to pack it in. Got 2 lands in my hand. There's no series of cards I'm gonna draw that are gonna make that go any better or worse than it is right now. I think I'm still good with this. Definitely, this deck definitely is very... I feel like you really got to get the sideboard is a place where this deck's going to need a lot of work, as well as the choice of threats. I mean, as well as some of the interaction. Like, I feel like Voltage Surge probably has a place here. Jesus. Alright. I'm gonna keep it, not because it's good, but because it has, you know, enough good... It has enough going on for it, we'll say. Well, we're gonna play this as a tap land. Pass. Our one-of Canyon Slough really biting us in the ass here. Thoughtseize our opponent. Legion's End, Kolaghan's Command, Fable the Mirror Breaker. So let's think about how we're gonna play this. I can leave this because I can Deadly Dispute the thing they hit. This gives them the most long-term advantage, so we're going to take that away. Play Cauldron Familiar. Leaving them a tasty, tasty treat. Oh, they ripped another Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Or they can just have everything, right? It's also an option. No attacks. And the turn. Imagine we're going to see them dump a land and maybe one other card. They dump nothing. That's a terrifying sign. Go ahead and double block. Not feeling so good about this. If only because... Definitely feels like we need to tune this deck up a bit. We'll give it the full 3-match treatment, but, like... This feels quite bad. I definitely don't feel like this is the matchup for this deck, though. This feels like this is a very poor matchup for us. Because they just have, like, Kolaghan's Commands probably in their main deck. Legion's End isn't actually that good against decks like this. Like, this card's actually pretty bad against Witch's Oven's deck. Any Witch's Oven-based decks. Alright, you got... Time to shit or get off the pot, brother. Like... Alright, well... What's this targeting? The cat? I'll sack the cat. Draw 2 cards. Please no Voldaren Epicures in those 2 cards. It's fine. Discard Soken's on. Go to damage. Give that -1/-1. Well, I mean, that was probably not the best way to leverage that Kolaghan's Command, if I'm being honest with you, chat. I think if I was our opponent, I would have exercised a little more caution. I feel like I'm interested... Cancel. What am I interested in doing here? Yeah, I think I'm just interested in sacking this. That was a very aggressive Kolaghan's Command. It's pretty easy, just we'll fade that with the Deadly Dispute. It's like a weird choice to target, but we're gonna hold that up. Or rather, hold that back. There's no reason to run that into a Legion's End. Oh, and I could potentially just blitz it at our opponent instead. Well, that's not good. Oh, okay, that makes sense. No, that's gonna come at me for 3. They'll get a 1/1. Alright, yeah, we're just gonna blitz the dude. Attack for 3. Trade with it. Do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it. Do it. Do it. Please do it. You're thinking about it, just do it. That life total is so low. It's such a low life total of 14. I don't know why that was... Honestly, I could not tell you why that was a hard decision, but... Make a 1/1. Draw a card. Maybe a Fatal Push? No, that's a good one. Would have been really good this last turn, but, you know, can't win them all. So, worst case scenario is our opponent drew like a Kolaghan's Command, but I doubt that they have, like, they maybe have 2. Ooh, that's a good one. That ward ability is going to be a pain in the ass to deal with. Yep, they're going to make another Graveyard Trespasser. Someone's going to get to eat my Cauldron Familiar. Yep, I see you, opponent. I hear you. I'm willing to do that. Actually, I'm going to get to eat that thing for free. Ah, no, because I want to be able to kill that reflection of Kiki-Jiki, I guess. Alright, well, that was a good one. We'll play the Mayhem Devil. Play Voldaren Epicure. I'm going to sack... This is only because I can get these triggers off of Mayhem Devil, but we'll... Get that. Draw a card. Nixilis doesn't really do anything here, but it will be good at building our life total back up, which is important. Alright, pass. I mean, they can Legion's End targeting a token, but I can just sacrifice it. And this is why I've never liked this card in these Mayhem Devil matchups. Yeah, Drabby. This is a very good card, and it's something, yeah, you should have on your radar in this format. It's just, like, pretty bad, like, in general. That's fine. I can't really do anything about it anyway, so. They can't just attack here. They're gonna have to do something with that Legion's End. I don't think that was it, if I'm being honest with you. I feel like you just go for the Voldaren Epicure there. And just, like, eat it for free. But that's, I guess, you know, my opinion. Alright, go to our turn. Blood Tithe Harvester is a good one. It's a really good one, actually. So they're empty-handed, but they have a Den of the Bugbear. So yeah, I'm definitely going to want to play this. I feel like I have to sacrifice the 1-1, so we'll get in with the 1-1. And we're going to go and casualty, sack the 1-1. Trigger, get another 1-1. Gonna get all these going. We're gonna down tick to get a devil, because the devils are really good. We're gonna up tick here, which is just gonna drain and gain. And now we can pass the turn back. I feel like we're stabilized here. Because now we got a clean trade with this Graveyard Trespasser, which they could kill, which it looks like they're gonna. And that's fine. So we still have a clean block. You know, they don't really have a whole lot else going on. So they can't, like, play... They could play one of... Probably the Murderous Rider here is what I'm guessing, but... Yeah, just play the life-linking threat. That makes the most sense right now. I don't feel like you can attack with that Graveyard Trespasser profitably. Mostly because I think that actually that just straight up kills them if they do it. Yeah, it does. They're dead. Like, they didn't do the math, chat. We have a Hive of the Eye Timer hanging out back here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. This is going to ping them down to 7. These will uptick, putting them down to 3. Hive of the Eye Tyrant has Menace. Go to our turn. Uptick. Uptick. Activate. That was just sloppy play from our opponent. I'll take your Bone Crusher Giant for good measure. Yeah, that feels like our opponent gave us that one by just not doing the math. Because that was all, to put it in perspective, like, that was all face-up information. There was no secrets. There's no hidden info. Neither of us had any cards in our hand. So that's just our opponent did not take the time to look at the battlefield enough. Because that game could have maybe gone on for, like, 2 more turns for them. I don't know if that gives them the chance to, like, actually win. Part of me is quite doubtful of that, but you never know. Just shoving our orbs in. Alright. Crack a pack. Look at us, 65% all the way, almost all the way through the set. Not even close. Alright, well, despite it feels a little shaky. The one thing I will say with these Omnixilus decks is it feels like it almost always feels like we're on the back foot, and then we just, like, turn the corner. Artur Palachek 2000. Not much. What's up with you, guy? How you doing? Alright, what do we got going on here? This is a good hand. It's got a lot going for it. Opponent could be a million different things. I feel like I should lead on Epicure here. How you doing tonight? Oh. Ooh. Oh, it's treating me all right. Yeah, it's been a minute since we've had time to really talk and catch up. Yeah, things have been going really good. I would say very well for me. You know, I'm Since the last time we've talked, I was, gosh, I moved up to Little Chute. Of course, for my new job that's up here, and been streaming 2 to 3 days a week, playing Magic every weekend, living the high life, as it were, to some people. Alright, we're gonna shock to play this Witch's Oven. We're up against mono red aggro. Yes, Drabby Noobs. Very good fodder for Ob Nixilis. Also enables Oni Cult Anvil, as well as being a recursive threat with like some of your like random stuff like Unlucky Witness. It's also, it feels like it would be really good with Voltage Surge, if we wanted to play that. Because I do think that's a card we want to play. Opponent's attacking. This feels like a very, I have a double block. Oh, I have, I'll attempt. I'll bite. So here's the thing, is they have to point a removal spell at one of these to make this profitable for them. Well, that's fair. Well, you should be coming up on the end of your semester, right? I think, like, Green Bay's last... This is Green Bay's last week. Yours should be coming up, too. Alright, so we'll let that happen. We can play these until our next end step. Perfect. We hit a card. And now here we'll just sack this other one. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Can find a day. Keep myself at least fairly available. At least I like to think. Yeah, I think here we're gonna play the Oni Cult Anvil, get our value, and just play this Shambling Ghast. Super Smash Bros. That would be fun. Though I feel like that's a game I have to have enough people to play it with. A sack of food token. I'm gonna get another 1/1 on the battlefield. And the turn. Yeah, I mean, I have a Switch. Only tricky thing is, I guess it's a big pain in the ass to stream off of those things. Is the only problem. But I could probably have to just figure that. I could probably figure that out here in the near future. Yeah, that feels like our opponent doesn't really get timing. Yeah, I'll kill that thing. That's like free. Like, that was literally, they just gave us a card for nothing. I suppose it gives these dudes haste. I'll give them that. And Ahsoken's on. I'm gonna just take my 4 here. Not happy about it, but, you know. You gotta do what you gotta do. That was a good one. I feel like we're gonna jam that one here. No attacks. I am gonna do this right away. Actually, that was a mistake. Yeah, I know I've been playing with it. I didn't realize other people had been trying it. But, yeah, no, I'm all about Paradox Engine. That's, like, one of my favorite cards to, Oh, Briefcase seems like a pretty natural fit in that deck. Yeah, no, no, but I'd be glad to play Super Smash Bros. I am thinking about doing a, yeah, I'll just take 2. They can't ever cleave me here, so I'm not too worried about it. I mean, if they have like a Titan Strength or whatever dumb name of a card they have now, I'm totally fine with it. And plus, we're getting to a point where we can just start sacrificing these food tokens for life, which will start countering like these combat steps and whatnot. Bone Crusher Giant, you got it. This feels like they have another card they want to play. Beaumont Courier. That's not a very good one. It feels pretty bad to just run that out here when I have an active Mayhem Devil on the battlefield. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot you can do with it, but there's a lot of missing pieces for that deck. It feels like you have to lean more into, you gotta lean into a few like different directions if you really want to make the Paradox Engine stuff work out. Yeah, but you know, the important bits, Karn, Mox Amber, Keenon, Emery. Oh, exactly, yeah, it's just nuts. Feel like... I think I'm gonna keep this food around. But we're gonna kill your Boltmont Courier, because that's just free. And now we're about to see the real power of Ob Nixilis. Yeah, I agree. That is actually, yeah, it is all very good. Plus, you get infinite 1-1s doing that. So even if you don't have another way to win the game. Oh, Carter Polachek, 2000. Thanks for this follow. Appreciate you. Oh, and the subscription. Jeez, you're being super generous. Thank you. 1, 2. Do I want to use this now? Is the question. Get in for 3, because I'm definitely not blocking with this ever. Yeah, absolutely. Text me anytime. You know, I'm always happy to talk. I know, yeah, you're busy with school. I'm very busy with work as of late, and I'd be happy to catch, you know, get some food sometime and catch up. Yeah, we'll go up top here. So, yeah, that was enough. So, I think the big thing here is that we're going to start gaining life from the Ob Nixilis, so it's definitely going to be particularly brutal. Definitely a fatal push matchup, and I think it's also a Chandra matchup. Just bringing in some just hard interaction. I actually like trimming I'm maybe not a Cauldron Familiar. I want to trim the Unlucky Witnesses. I'm actually not all that impressed by this card, as much as I thought I would be. Really wanted it to be good, but very difficult for me to justify playing this with such a high curve. Because I even have struggles with Experimental Synthesizer, at least like internally, I should say. But yeah, I think this should be fine. Yeah. Yeah. Goodness. It's a fine, man. This is a fine hand. A little slow, but we're on the draw, so we have a lot of opportunities to get there. Plus, if we have to, we can, like, leverage this Witch's Oven to sack Shambling Gas for mana. Not an ideal place to be, but a place we could go. Alright. Alright. Just the slow roll. There we go. It was actually a really good draw. I'm going to play this Witch's Oven down. Roiling Vortex. Sure, that's fine. Definitely means we're probably going to play this a lot more conservatively than we would have otherwise. Oh, another one. Jeez. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna do this. It's free. Give that guy -1/-1. Well, we've successfully dealt with the threat. Sure. Play this tapped and just jam another Shambling Ghast here. So, best case scenario for us is our opponent decides to tap out and give us an opportunity to crack a food. Ideally, they don't hit any more land drops, because otherwise it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. Sure. Or we pick up the pace and our clock gets a lot faster. That would be the other, like, scenario that works out for us here. Sure. Robber of the Rich. That's a good one. They can't play both, though. It's pretty notable. At least this turn, I should say. And if they play the Robber, that's actually... I think the Robber is actually quite bad here. Because what will happen is I'll block, I'll kill it. Yep, there. That makes sense. Alright, opponent. So, I mean, you're getting priority from your Roiling Vortex. You gotta learn to pass the turn there, champ. I keep the Shambling Gaster. I'll take 2. I'm definitely willing to just jam this here. Pass the turn back. Definitely it's getting a little scary. We're getting to that point where the game where it's gonna get really tight. That's fine. I will snap this block off. They do get to draw a card from the top of our deck, which kind of sucks, but... Cubano faces Kakazan, sure. A little scary. Life total's getting pretty low. Oh, interesting. They didn't even go for it. Alright, I am going to sacrifice this. We'll get a treasure. Go up top with it here. I could sack the treasure to kill this, but I think I'd rather just do it on our turn. Sure. Tenacious Underdog. I'll sack one of these. Go right there. I'm gonna get to gain 3 life. I don't think we can afford to attack here. That's the only problem. Would be nice to have gotten 3 damage in, but still don't think we can attack. I think next turn, though, we're going to be in a good position where we can leverage, like, the Ob Nixilis. We can go, like, Tenacious Underdog off the treasure. Then I feel confident. If they miss a land drop and we get to untap and do this, then I feel very comfortable in starting to attack with our Mayhem Devil. Start with an attack for 3. Play the Underdog. Sack this, get 1 more damage in. I'll get 2 more damage in, rather. And then we'll just uptick both the Ob Nixilises, because, right, which, they're either going to, actually, what I'll do is, yeah, I could do 1, right? How does this work? If I do 1, they discard a card. If I do 2, yeah, we just gotta do this way. This first one, they can get a kind of a freebie here. However, the trick here that I did, yup, and they fell for it, is that, I should clarify, is that I'm going to kill them. Because what's going to happen now is, I'm going to make a 1-1 devil. I'll sack it. The devil's going to ping him for 1, and then my mayhem the other devil is going to ping him for 1. And they did, to their own roiling vortexes. Roiling Vortex is not a good card in these types of matchups. I would not bring that card in super confidently. I get why they brought it. If it was like something like a little different, like a Sulfuric Vortex, or like Rampaging Ferocidon would probably be a more applicable example. That is a card I would bring in this matchup, but I don't think Roiling Vortex is one of them. Because their deck, like, we can do probably just as much, if not more damage than they can. Like there, they went from, 11 to they're dying to their Roiling Vortexes in 1 turn. So it feels like that's not a card they should be bringing in against us. Despite all of our incremental life gain. This is a good hand. This has got everything we want, so... I'm going to play the Witch's Oven to start. It's usually smart to just play this out in the dark if you're not sure what you're up against. Overgrown Tomb Goose. So, Jund food. Play the cat, play the Shambling Ghast to pass the turn. So, assuming our opponent doesn't have like even if it's just like a trail of crumbs or something here, not super worried about it, but like they couldn't have like an Ob Nixilis to like really punish us. Well, they got Mayhem Devil. The actual, just like worst case scenario. So I don't think we have like a good way of dealing with that in our main deck, do we? Matter of fact, we have our own Mayhem Devils. Grody. This, I will, let's make a treasure, makes more sense. If they target the Cauldron Familiar, we'll just sack this on the stack. Just do it before they can target the Ob Nixilis, basically. That's fine. What? Well, that was dumb. Whatever. Apparently, by letting the one thing resolve, I couldn't resolve like, anything... Couldn't put anything else on the stack? Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Pass the turn, I guess. That was dumb. That shouldn't have worked the way it did. We should have had the opportunity to do something there. Yeah, that's gonna let him just get a freebie, huh? Awkward. Okay. We're going to attack, probably the 2 loyalty Ob Nixilis, and then I'll block with the devil. If our opponent was smart, they'd just do this right away, kill the devil token. So here I'm just going to do this. Go up top. No reason to target this. My turn. They're going to just let me plus both of these. Okay. And this is just, all free for me. Though, sadly, to be fair, we've drawn, again, just a lot of lands, which is not fantastic for us. Okay. I'm going to get to kill the token here. They got a land. Yep, you kill that one. There you go. Go to our turn. We're gonna plus. Fascinating. I feel like this. Yeah, we'll do this. This feels like they might have a like a fatal push, but it's not. It's starting to really not look like it, if I'm being honest. So if they did, this feels like that should have happened already. Yep, crack that. Kill my 1/1. We both understand what's happening here. Oh, they're gonna go for that. Okay, that's fine. Gain your life. Go to damage. I'm just gonna let it happen. Kind of sucks, but what can you do? Gonna do an extra point of damage this way. We'll just pass the turn. I feel like we're gonna stop fighting the fight over this Ob Nixilis here in a minute, though. Okay, I'm willing to concede to that. So this definitely feels like again, just like not a fantastic matchup for us. We have no sideboard cards besides Thoughtseize. Willing to bring in the Fatal Pushes as well. So here, Mayhem Devil is really, unlike the Rakdos mid-range deck, we actually really want that one. Let's trim up on these. The Shambling Ghasts are exceptionally bad here, and I think I'm willing to even trim a Cauldron Familiar. Sort of make space in our 1-mana stuff for these interactive spells. So far, despite our record of 2-0 with this deck, I'm actually very underimpressed, and I feel like our build is quite poor. Regardless of the fact that we've won every game, every match we've played, so. Alright, what have we got? Opponent is taking a minute. Yeah, I don't know. What do I feel like I'm missing in this deck? I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know what it is yet, but I'll figure it out. This is a fine hand. We can kill a bird. Thoughtseize our opponent, so I think we'll lead on our Thoughtseize. Just Meat Hook. We literally cannot beat this hand, but that's fine. I guess Cindervines? This hand is nigh unbeatable for our deck, so it's pretty savage. We'll probably pack. Oh, that was. Oh, naturally they drew just another Cindervines. You know, I'm not gonna play this out. This matchup is so like that hand is not like beatable for us. Okay, so my takeaway is that I feel like this deck needs a lot of work, and I think we'll circle back to it. I just don't know exactly what needs to be done to it quite yet. So I'm going to think about it while we try this pile of cards out. This is an Orzhov deck. By the way, I want to point out just something that this has been really kind of irritating me online, is that like the quote explorer community, which is just a bunch of Pioneer players, seem to be bitching and moaning about the fact that this format is like all Winota decks, despite the fact that like I personally have almost submitted the wrong deck. I personally have rarely actually played against Winota decks, and even when I have, I've had a fairly positive win rate, even with decks that aren't geared at specifically dealing with Winota. So it just feels like there's been a lot of negative conjecture online about the health of Explorer. I do think that Winota is probably still just like, it's like a definitive deck that, like, you know, you should plan around, especially if you're planning to play competitively. It feels like that's the kind of deck that you would expect to see there. You know, it's aggressive, proactive, and powerful. But like, you know, like almost the entire Jund food deck is legal, and that deck just runs over creature decks if it. Albeit the Winota deck can sometimes outpace them, you know, admittedly. Waiting on our opponent. Well, we got a lot to like here. Got kill 1 drop, kill 2 drop, play Kaya. Hold up, settle. Forgive me for drinking all this water, chat. It's 81 degrees today. So I'm it's a bold decision to run that out. So this looks like it's probably just what's its name? Feather. I mean, I'm gonna target this. I'm assuming they have a God's Willing. Nope, they just don't have a God's Willing. Right on time with that Hive of the Eye Tyrant, but we'll play this. Jam this Kaya. This plus. Eat these 2 cards. Our opponent has kept quite the slow hand. We'll jam this. We'll plus this. Let's submit 0. No, we're not gonna hit our own things with that. So, and this is the power of the Wandering Emperor. I suspect that we'll see these cards paired together a lot in Explorer/Pioneer, because this card, like, really, really good against Winota, and this card is just, like, really, really good. Make it 2/2. Ooh, actually, let's cancel. Play this guy. I think I'm actually going to play this guy down. Submit 0. Plus. You know, we'll still go on the Samurai. I changed my mind. So now we can start getting on the offensive. Submit 0. So really powerful thing as well is the reason we're playing Kaya specifically is that Kaya enables us to be able to we can exile cards with Kaya, so like Arclight Phoenix decks and, you know, things of that nature are you know, quite, let's see, quite weak. Either word. Against cards like Kaya, and then on top of it, the fact that we're playing cards like Settle the Wreckage, which will, like, exile cards in mass, just feels like sort of just like an easy win as far as deck building goes. Stack with the 3/3 Vigilance and the 4/4 with First Strike. Just really, because you notice here, we went from, like, we weren't doing much to, like, you know, we've got 7 coming across the red zone here. Currently, they have 2 cards in exile. We will attempt to Bloodchief's Thirst this. They gotta have something like a God's Willing here, yeah. I was gonna say, like, if they didn't have this by now, like, 0 top, 1 bottom. You know, listen. All about them bottoms, okay? Plus, eat this, submit. Now we get to just pass holding up settle the wreckage, so even if they have like a big turn where they get to play this and do stuff with it, we can just settle the wreckage, deal with the Dreadhorde Arcanist, and then we're setting up for quite the turn here. Reckless Rage. Sure. That's fine. Not gonna have such an easy time hitting that one with the Reckless Rage. Ooh, that's dirty, by the way. If they have to attack to do that. They put this on the stack. On the stack, I settle, and that fades this, right? No, it doesn't fade it. Sure. Ancestral Anger. Oh, it draws a card. Look at that. Are they going to go for the Reckless Rage here? So they can choose to cast this. This has to... So this does target. So with this on the stack, we'll settle the wreckage here. Because then they don't get to draw the card. Gotta take it away from our opponent here. Yeah, can't God's willing your way out of this one, champ. You got it. Discard that last card in your hand. It's a land. Love that animation. I miss that they don't do those anymore. So you have, what is it, 4 cards in exile? I can get them up to 5 with a Hive of the Eye Tyrant, right? And I can put a counter on that. Okay, yeah, they're willing to just go to the next one. All right, what feels bad here? Let's start there. Containment Priest doesn't do nothing. This feels a little too expensive. Angel's Grace, this is not the matchup for Angel's Grace. Kaya's Wrath feels good. Grafdigger's Cage, it stops the Dreadhorde Arcanist specifically, but I'm not specifically all that worried about it. So does Drannith Magistrate. Fumigate seems fine. Doomblade, instant speed removal is quite strong. They did bring in a couple of white creature. I'm assuming they're playing Feather, based off of what we've seen. So we'll bring that in, and I think we can just bring in just like Lyra, strong endgame threat. Tenacious Underdog feels like it might be. This might not be the match for it at all. Thinking about it. Bring in a Legion's End. They seem pretty willing to run their stuff out into removal, so I think a Legion's End might catch them with their pants down. I'm a big fan. So Orzhov midrange feels like it has the makings of a good deck, especially if in like a competitive setting where you're planning to play against decks like Winota a lot, as well as Arclight Phoenix. So it definitely feels like very much within the realm of what we'd expect. So this is a... I can't imagine they're playing a 1-drop on 1, but I will shock the Godless Shrine, then play the Temple of Silence tapped. That sequence is going to enable us to cast these 3 things and curve into this pretty easily. Mulligan to 5 from our opponent. That's a deep mulligan for them. We'll shock and pass, put the Fear of God into them. If they still run out the 2-drop, they have no fear. It's like none. And by golly, do I respect them for it. Oh, by the way, a note that I didn't bring up is that in each of the decks I was playing, I have 1 copy of Temple of Silence. I don't think we're ready for a Lyra quite yet. And 1 copy of Canyon Slough in the Rakdos deck. I really wanted to try these out to see if they're actually, still, reasonable to play. I'll take 2. My life total's high enough that I can afford to take some damage here. I'm willing to attempt to Fatal Push this during their end step. Specifically because if they have a God's Willing, they'll get to Scry 2, which is not ideal. But we will get to untap and just Blood Chief's Thirst play Tenacious Underdog, so. Well, they actually got to scry 1. We'll go ahead and just deal with this guy now. Play the Underdog. So, I imagine that was a threat that they kept on top of their library. Because there's absolutely no way in hell that they thought that was going to live. Or they did, I guess, maybe. Honestly, because if I was my opponent and my opponent was pointing removal spells at things during like, I'm either clearly setting up for another removal spell, or I'm just, like, making you have it. And I think either way there, you're going to still want just more threats against the 1-for-1 removal deck. But you should always be playing around, like, me having the next removal spell there. That's kind of my takeaway. Alright. Good start. Not exactly a litness test, but played against a deck with threats, so... Oh, the cut on the bottom of my tongue. I don't even know where it came from. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, that's mid-range all the way, baby. And we're on the draw, so Bloodchief Thirst is actually a card that is just slightly better on the draw, given that it's sorcery speed. Well, never mind. Now it's not very good at all. Actually, that's not true. I lied. It is still quite good on the draw. Just, I mean, I'm gonna do it. I'm not proud of this. Especially if they hit Parhelion and a Greasefang. Well, they had a Can't Stay Away, so that's something. So here we get to play Hive into Tenacious Underdog, into this, into Kaya. Well, I'll play that into Kaya, but... Play this guy. Interesting, they didn't have a 2-mana play. Maybe they had Deadly Disputes in their hand or something. But next turn we'll just play Kaya and start upticking, taking away any relevancy from their graveyard. Yeah, let's play Kaya. I could take that away too, I guess, huh? Right, because I could -1 on this token. Yeah, I'll -1 on the token, I'll bite. If they have it, they have it. I can't really beat it anyway, so. Like, straight up. Like, I can't, like, I don't have any instant... Like, the way to beat their deck is to have an instant speed way of dealing with their stuff. Like, they had a Parhelion, so if they have a Greasefang, they just have it. If they don't have a Greasefang, it's mine. Yeah, they got it. And that's the game. So I'm no way in hell I'm gonna even attempt to bother to play through that. Alright, what's good here? None of it. None of it is good. I'm just kidding, that's not true. Containment Priest doesn't actually do anything. So this doesn't stop vehicles from entering the battlefield from other places. Doomblade is quite poor. I do like Ray of Enfeeblement as well as Vanishing Verse. Not a big fan of the Legion's End. Settle the Wreckage is another, like, good card in the matchup. Kaya's Wrath isn't actually very good here. And I do like Lyra, because Lyra can actually stonewall that combo by just blocking an Angel token. Which is, like, not really talked about. And the Angel of Grace is coming. So the Angel of Grace, to clarify for everybody, because I imagine everybody's wondering, A, what that card does, and B, why the hell it's in my deck. And the answer is that if my opponent is beating me to death with their Winota combo, I can flash it in to not die, and then also, like, profitably block something, and then untap and raft the board, or hold up. You know, give myself that extra turn. That's a snap mulligan. That's a ugh, I guess I'll keep. Put this back. We've got threats. Like, I can't ask for anything more. A card that I think we could probably be playing in this deck, I don't think I want that, is Unlicensed Hearse. Probably feels like a reasonable graveyard hate for these kind of mid-range strategies that we're playing. Okay, all right. I'll play a Tenacious Thirst strat. Not gonna lie, not very impressed with this card in this setting specifically. All right, yeah. Take my Graveyard Trespasser. Yep, it's the Graveyard Trespasser. Okay, they figured it out. I was worried for a second there, but they might like try to get too cute. Pass the turn, sack that, put your Parhelion in the graveyard. We all know how this is gonna go. Alright, I'll Thoughtseize you. Please crack that in response. They have 4 lands in their hand. Jesus. And here I was feeling bad for our opponent. I have no fear of my dojo. I'm attacking for 3. So this looks like Bin, probably the Godless Shrine. Yeah, it's clearly Godless Shrine, right? Graveyard Trespasser, sure. Sucks to be me. Go to my turn. I guess I'm gonna play the Eiganjo here. They know we have a Wandering Emperor, so I'm just gonna beat in. I could just deal with this with a Wandering Emperor. I have no problem discarding a card. You got it. Have at my Thoughtseize. Wandering Emperor. Exile this. We'll discard the Shattered Sanctum. It's not a huge deal. Exile this guy. I absolutely am sure. I will gladly auto-pay for that. Gets rid of their Graveyard Trespasser. Gains us up to 17. Get to go to our turn. Land is not phenomenal, but we get to make this guy into a 4/3, and probably, yeah, we'll probably just play this Godless Shrine tapped. We actually do have 5. We have a 5-drop in our deck, so I'm very incentivized to. I'm gonna hold the blocker back. Like if they want to swing with both at the Wandering Emperor, I'll gladly. Oh Jesus Christ. Well, never mind, chat. Like, they just had the Sky Sovereign off the top. 1 to me, 3 to this. Brutal. That was brutal. Okay, well, I don't think we can win. I think we're just dead here, but hey. Play this guy. So your 2 things. They can't kill this cleanly with the Sky Sovereign, because it's 4/4. So we're not, like, totally dead here, but, like, we're definitely, like, in a bad spot. Like, a Lyra will go a long way here, let's put it that way. Fable the Mirrorbringer. I can't say I'm thrilled about that. Stitcher Supplier. Well, now they can't deal with this at all. And they can't discard. I'm shocked to see them play their hand out there. I actually feel like if I was our opponent, I'd be more inclined to be defensive. Swing with your team, you coward. Do it. The correct attack here, chat, is to attack with everything. No, never mind. They don't have it. They didn't keep any cards in their hand. They can't bluff it. Yeah, can't. Board counters it. I take 6, go to 9. Be sad. It's nighttime. I guess I'll channel Takenuma. Be extra sad. 3. I'll grab back this Wandering Emperor. And then I think I die. I think I'm dead here. I might be dead. May not. So this will flip back to being a 4/4, so even if they discard their card, they can't do the thing. Though we will probably just have to aggressively block here, and then be dead on the following turn, so. Explorers being Explorer. You know, Parhelion decks are a thing, and you can't really... They're one of the... So we're trying out Orzhov mid-range. And sadly, I do think this is like our second match with the deck, and we're gonna play one more, and then we're gonna tweak our lists a little bit, kind of based off of our our feelings. Feelings are important. Attack with everything. Oh my gosh. Kill me. Our opponent's just like actively not trying to kill me. So they could have just discarded a card, dealt 3, and then I would have to, you know, trade in combat with all these things, but they don't want to do that. No attacks. End the turn. So here, they're going to do this. They'll do 3 here. A Wandering Emperor, deal with the Sky Sovereign. Yeah, it's a neat format. Everybody online's bitching and moaning that Winota's too good, but, like, I feel like that's, like, the Scrub Lords who just, like, want to play do-nothing, you know, decks that just get run over by things like that have proactive game plans. So it just feels like, you know, people complaining for, like, the sake of it. Alright, now I swear to God if they attack with everything now, I'm going to be so tilted. You know I have a Wandering Emperor in my hand. This would be a lot better if you had done this like a few turns ago. I'd probably just actually be dead. Yeah, you're gonna... Okay. Let's see what they do with this word. Oh, they just let it happen? Okay, well now I'll play the Wandering Emperor and exile your thing. Exile the Sky Sovereign. It's a good place for it to go. This puts us up to 5. I'll block the 4/4. Probably Fatal Push the 2/2. Feels right. Could also not do that, I guess, because it'll stay nighttime if I don't do that. Right? Yeah, I'll actually just take 3. Yeah, because what I can do now is I can go... For each creature card, each opponent loses 1 life. Okay, so I can go like... Well, I'm going to kill the toe... no, I'm going to go -1. Kill Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. So I have Revolt now. I'm going to attack with the 4/4. Get to eat this Blood Tithe Harvester, and we'll just take the Fable of the Mirror Breaker. It doesn't really matter. So gain us up to 3 and put them all the way down to 8. And then we'll actually just play the straight up Grey Ogre 2/3 with lifelink here. Classic. Love the artwork on this card, but you know, not a card I've been super impressed by in recent times. Fatal Push. Sure. That doesn't kill me. Watch me block your 2/2 with my 2/2 opponent. Yeah, the storybook artwork, that's probably like my absolute favorite alternate arts they've done. We're not out of the woods yet, to be quite frank. Yeah, we'll trade with the 2/2. Go to 1. Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize ain't it, admittedly. I think I'm dead, right? Oh, I suppose this can exile cards from my graveyard, huh? Do I have 2 creatures in my graveyard? I don't think I do have 2 creatures in my graveyard. We're gonna go my graveyard. We're gonna go 1 and Sad Thirst Trap 2. Trigger, trigger. Get you. We call that stabilizing. Might have heard of it, opponent. Though I can't do that trick again, so... Top... I gave us another turn. I didn't win the game. Alright, well that's going a long distance in helping me win the game. I feel like if you were going to do that, you should have waited until, like, my second main phase. Oh, it was. I agree. I think the Eldraine... Because that was, like, I think the first one they really went off the wall with... like, with really deep artwork. With the alternate arts. Because they had this... It was the storybook. Graveyard Glutton. Oh, that kills me, right? Because they get rid of 2 things in their own graveyard. Yep, that's fine. Yep, now they get me for 1. That happens. I do like the guild, yeah, the Art Deco with the gilded rares and whatnot. Alright. Bear with me, chat. Holy shit, it's hot in my temperature. It is still 76 degrees outside. Kill me. Alright. Forgive me, chat. I might start to look a little sweaty. It's because it's really warm in my office. The AC is, in fact, the wall unit in my apartment, which makes me just kind of want to die. Alright, we'll play one more match with Orzhov midrange. Oofda. I was hoping I could open the window at some point, but it's just not going to cool down from the looks of it. Spara's headquarters. Alright, we'll play one more match with Orzhov, and then we'll kind of, I think, take both decks we played tonight kind of back to the drawing board and see if we want to make any changes. I do think a card that I want to play around with more in these mid-range decks is the card Unlicensed Hearse. Because that feels really good against that, like decks like what we just saw. Because like you could just sit there and exile your opponent's graveyard kind of repeatedly. Alright, there's a mulligan. Really? Yeah, it seems really strong. Well, I've played against this person before. I'm gonna keep this, but I'm not happy about it. You know, we don't get super punished with the tap lands because we can kill the 1-drop that they play in between. But I remember playing against this person that... Okay, yeah, this is a Winota deck. So we just have to draw lands here, I think, is the key. Land World, sure. Gonjo. I think I'm willing to go with the mana-efficient play. Just exile Llanowar Elves and pass it back. Aspara's headquarters, or unlicensed. Yeah, I know. I've had a really weird experience with the pull rates in this set, to be honest. Sick mana base from our opponent. A Winota, sure. I'm willing to just go to my turn here. Plus, we submit 0, pass the turn. See what my opponent's up to. Wandering Emperor. Opponent had a really bad hand. 3 for Saturday, open to trade for him. That's fair. Hopefully you can get some. A Containment Priest. I'll eat the token, because that's basically free. I mean, I'm going to just play this sorcery speed so I can get the value out of this counter. It's a one-of in our main deck to deal with specifically their deck. Winota, Blade Historian. I actually think Blade Historian is the most problematic card there. Also, I don't mind if they have to discard Winotas. Sure. Brutal Cathar. It's a good one. So I could kill this. That lets them get a trigger here, but that doesn't do anything because I have a containment priest. Yeah, I think that's fine. Kill the Brutal Cathar. Plus up to Kaya. Get rid of the... They have no way of bringing their stuff back anyway. Yeah, I could actually get a look through my new Capenna rares to see if I pulled any, because I do feel like I'm gonna need to. Is game day? Is that this Saturday? Really? Please attack me. Okay, they didn't do it. I'm willing to just go ahead and turn this bad boy into a 4/4. Eat their treasure token. That's fair. Is it Pioneer for game day? Honestly, I'd forgotten game day was even happening. But yeah, I probably have to. Sure. Oh yeah, it should always be fun. Oh, chat, I think we're gonna get to. Oh, oh, that's so brutal. Yeah, they get to exile it now, which is, not so good for us, but that sets them up to where they're gonna have to attack with everything. I'll make a 2/2. I'll eat the Brutal Cathar here and just. Yeah, this is gonna be so nasty. Yep, you got it, opponent. Decide on your attacks. I feel like these decks could be playing Gruul Spellbreaker specifically because of this. Oh, are they playing around to settle the wreckage right now? They might be. There's no way they're missing here, right? Because they missed on one. Tavolar's Pack Leader. That's a good one. Oh, why is that? What's been going on? By the way, I want you to know, chat, that I actually did make a mistake here. I should have, with the trigger on the stack, settled here, because then none of the things they could hit would be, they would have gained all this life, basically. Yeah, what's been going on with your burn deck? Now they're going to activate one of these, which is fine. Still get to just eat all their attacking creatures. And still have a containment priest on the battlefield. So, oh, there's their one basic. We'll eat a token, because we can. Just pass the turn back. Let's use this. We're going to really try to leverage the Kaya here to eat as many tokens as we can. Okay, they got a chariot. That's not nothing. Interesting. Yeah, you got it. So, it is a May. We have a containment priest, so this Winota's triggers don't do anything. Oh! Oh, that'll do it. That'll do it. Okay, how do we want to do this? Trade here. Play this. Eat that. Actually, I think I'm going to go for this here. Yeah, I'm just going to go with the Angel of Grace. It's not phenomenal here because I don't get to leverage the ability as much, but I do get to trade with a Winota. And I feel like I can pretty safely just eat a wolf token. I do have to, like, start working through these tokens here. Puts me up to 6 lands. We'll eat another token. Go ahead and go no attack. So now they can only attack with one other token. So I think that gets us down where we only got one Winota left in the deck. So I feel like we're in a good position here. Looks like they're good. They can eat my... So let me think here. Is it worth keeping this Containment Priest anymore? I don't think it is, but I'm going to get to eat the Isekai's Chariot here. If they had Winota, they would have definitely... They might have played it pre-combat. I'm just trying to think. So if I block here, I get to eat a token, play a Trespasser. If they have exactly a Winota, it's very bad for me. I feel like I'm going to risk it. They only got one Winota left in the deck. They did not have it, because they definitely would have played it otherwise. We'll eat another token with the Kaya here. I got a high enough life total that I feel pretty comfortable doing this. Brutal Cathar is a good one to hit. It's nighttime too, so I get to eat 2 cards here. Rid of all these, play another tap land, and see. We'll actually, right? Is it worth? Yeah, I'll just do this. They can kill either one of my Planeswalkers. Feels, yeah, they're going for the Wandering Imp. Yeah, oh, they're going to make me pick. Okay. Interesting. That kind of tells me that they don't care. I actually think the Kaya... Actually, given that when the Wandering Emperor can minus now, I'll give up the Kaya. I don't think Kaya's ultimate is necessarily going to be getting us anywhere fast, so... I don't have any ways of getting my stuff back, do I? I do not, so... I can definitely eat my Containment Priest and just submit the 1. I'll gladly trade this 2-2 for their 2-2, so... Sure. A little surprised to see that attack, to be honest. Got a Kaya's Wrath, so even if they do manage to kind of go nuts a little bit, I don't think we're too worried about it. Smith 0. Exactly. Well, chipping is a loose term. So we're gonna do a lot more than chip them down here over the next few turns. So the worst case scenario is they rip a Tovolar's Huntmaster. I want to go to my turn, see what I draw. I draw a land. How many lands am I playing? 24. That's a lot of lands. I think I'm willing to just kill this and get it out of the way. I don't think I'm going to be able to leverage this Fatal Push the way I would like to, and this guarantees I'm going to get 7 damage across, and they're just going to gain 3. This just make a food token. They'll sack the food token, but this also mitigates a Winota off the top of their deck, because if this is they can still get triggers with this, so it's definitely not like just like really bad to do it or anything like that. Get in for 7. Another 22. Play a Godless Shrine tapped. Pass the turn. Definitely feels like a matchup that's really good for us. You can kind of tell by the fact that we're playing like quite frankly, just a bunch of techie cards, like a Singleton Containment Priest to settle the wreckages. You know, this is definitely a deck that is built with their deck in mind, we'll say. Yeah, we'll plus... Submit 0, get in for 9. So I could hit this Fable of the Mirror Break, and I think I'm going to. I think I'm more worried about them getting to discard and draw. Yeah, this is game 1. This mad deck is gonna... It's gonna slow the game down. Okay, they're willing to concede. That's fair. They're steadily dying. Matter of fact, we have lethal on the battlefield, so... Okay. Second Containment Priest and Grafdigger's Cage are both very good here. Doomblade is quite strong. So is Ray of Enfeeblement and Vanishing Verse. As is Lyra and Fumigate. Alright, so... We don't necessarily need all those cards here. So, Legion's End is also quite strong against them. Not a huge fan of Thoughtseize against them. Or Murderous Rider. Just too expensive. Tenacious Underdog just isn't it. Basically what this is going to be is that, like, our deck is going to be a pile of cards that are really good against their deck in the post-sideboard games, and I think we'll even trim... We'll trim one Graveyard Trespasser. It's not that it's bad, it's that it's not amazing. I've actually played against this person before, and I imagine they might be getting sick of me beating them up when they're playing their Winota deck, but... So I think I've played against this person several times over the last few streams. I'll keep this on the draw, but I'm a little reluctant. Doesn't mean I'm exactly thrilled about it either. But we did draw an answer to Winota, though, so that's good. Innkeeper, sure. Black Source and pass the turn. If they play a Winota, we'll just deal with it. No, that was a mistake, actually. And we'll just kill this. We'll kill this, too. I should have did this first. We gave them an etched underdog. Cool. Imagine that looks pretty sweet. We'll play this tapped here. This is a little rough, but not much we can do about it. Sure. I will kill that on sight. No fourth land from our opponent. We're still going to kill their stuff. So one of the things about this deck that I think goes a little unspoken is that it isn't necessarily entirely about dealing with specifically Winota. It is more so about being able to just keep their battlefield clean so that Winota doesn't do anything. Kill that. Willing just to murder things on site, especially anything that's going to generate extra mana. Because a big one is that if they could just, like, they can play just a cold Tovolar's Huntmaster, that's probably just really good. So, Brutal Cat, just a dry Brutal Cathar. All of the Fatal Pushes. I feel like we should be playing Fabled Passage to help enable that. Alright. Yeah, I'm going to play this just so I can say I used my mana. Get rid of your Brutal Cathar. Oh, yeah. And we pushed a ball straight off a cliff. Aw, that's brutal. Pass the turn. Winota. That was really aggressive from our opponent. You always gotta look at the lands, chat. Look at the lands. That was really bad from our opponent, but... That is first strike and ward pay 3 life, huh? Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Sure. I kill the 2/2. Sort of free to use up our mana here. I feel very comfortable getting aggressive from here, I think. And by that I mean, chat, it is in fact time to just go straight into the red zone. I'll get rid of the... I have no fear in my dojo. So now we have a way, even if they go Winota off the top, we just flash this in response to the trigger, and we're fairly stabilized. Well, that's a neat one. Oh, I suppose that's basically no different than the Innkeeper in their deck, huh? Card's surprisingly good. Yeah, I'll take 3. I can't really do anything about it, so... There's the Huntmaster. Yeah, that's pretty brutal. Yeah, that makes some 2/2s. That is not fantastic. Pass the turn. I will have to double block this pack leader if it attacks, sadly. That is going to enable me to be able to deal with some stuff, but... Yeah, we gotta do this. We do have to preserve our life total here. It's very important. Ah, I did not read my cards. It's fine. I should have just jump blocked. It's fine, chat. Don't worry about that. That was really bad for me. I always forget that it's a werewolf. Okay, that's a good one. Alright, I got nothing, chat. I got nothing, opponent. Pass the turn. Your go. Swing with team. Swing with the team. Swing with the... Yes! Settle the wreckage. The sweckage, if you will. Alright. Best draw, Lyra. Alright, never mind. Best draw, Fumigate. Or Kaya's Wrath. Honestly, I'll take either. Alright, Concealed Courtyard was not it. We got 1 turn to draw the out. And we can't even Containment Priest through their Winota. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. They're playing scared. Ha! That's funny. They should not be playing scared. The chances of me having enough copies of that card for it to be problematic for them. I mean, we're pretty dead here. Because I'm going to have to kill this, flash this in, and block. And just, like, go to 2, and then maybe we untap, draw a Wrath effect. Go, Gadget, Ambush Viper. Form of Chump Blocker. Mat 2. I played on my outs here. Alright. I'm taking it away from our opponent. I killed a player in that match, not my opponent. Let's make something perfect and clear. Huh. I'm on the play this time. Bringing these back. I think I like these better than I like the Trespassers, actually. Like, thinking about it. Trespasser's good. But it's not like the other one is like a removal spell, but it also like just dogs the 2/2s that they make, so. Play first. Okay, well this hand has like everything, so. You know what, chat? We're just going to play Grafdigger's Cage. And we're going to be grateful that we have a Grafdigger's Cage. Now, they'd probably have 4 Skyclave apparitions in their deck post-sideboard, admittedly. But, we've established, chat, that I, in fact, have no fear in my dojo. So good. Yeah, that's just a good card for them, huh? That's not so good. Play this on a black source and pass. If they have the Winota, we can just Murderous Rider it here. They don't. So, yeah, we'll take one. Land that isn't Takenuma? Huh. I think I'm willing to deal with that. I have to play the Takenuma down, which isn't great, but... Play this. Exile the 2/2. Actually, I think I'll block the 1/1. Yeah. I think this is actually better. So this leaves me the ability to still minus on this 2/2 on my own turn. While also, please play a second one of those. Damn, it's the other one. Yeah, Cage is a really good card. I feel fairly comfortable dealing with the token here. I also get to look at their hand to inform my next play. They have Soken-Zan, secretly a really good card in their deck. I'll do this. I'll make another 2/2. Oh, I should have attacked. That was a mistake, but it's fine. We'll be fine. I clicked through my turn a little too quickly. So we have an answer to a Tovolar's Huntmaster, which is where we want to be. Sick. That drew 3 cards. I forgot that even said that on there. Didn't even think about it. Goose honk. Yep. Yeah. Let's go to our turn here. I think I'm down just to make another samurai here. And the turn. Got access to, what, 6. They could have 7. So they could go Skyclave, deal with the Grafdigger's Cage, play a Winota. So, gotta be kind of cognizant of that being an option. Tovolar's Huntmaster. Sure. That's fine. Can't really do anything about it, so... I am willing to just deal with the Huntmaster. Just wholesale. Containment Priest. Okay. I'm willing to trade if they are, so. So we're still cognizant of the fact that they could have the answer plus the Winota, but we have the Containment Priest now to deal with that. Plus we can start working our way towards the... Sure, that's fine. It's a good one. It's a 2/3 flyer. I'll play this. Archon's a good card. Not really good in this format, relative to others, but this is a really good card in, like, actual Pioneer. Where in this format, like, its ability is far less impressive. It's still good against Arclight Phoenix, but Arclight Phoenix is kind of, like, nowhere near the powerhouse that it is elsewhere. Alright, I'm just gonna I'll deal with your thing. Listen, I'm not saying that this card's like the new Collected Company, but, like, you know, if your opponent passes, if your opponent on white passes with mana open, chances are is that they've got Winota, they've got the Wandering Emperor. Go to combat. willing to just swing for 5. Soken's on, that's fine. Trade with my guy. Or they could go 4 blockers on the rider, I guess. Nope, they're just willing to... pass the turn and the turn. So even if our opponent manages to put up a strong board, I still feel very comfortable with where we're at. Honestly, I think I'll make it 2. I want to make it 2-2 here. I think we could start with. I'm gonna see if I can trick him into a double block. Pull the old double block, kill one of your things. Classic draft technique right there. Opponent did not fall for it. Respectfully. So they're at a virtual 26 life, which is actually just kind of irritating, because I'm getting nowhere fast on this whole, Alright, you know what? I'm at the point where I'm a little sick of this goose. Alright. So they virtually have 12 additional life right now. Put that there. Though I'm gonna keep gaining 3 life, so I'm also gaining a bunch of life here, just albeit in a slightly slower fashion. So I'm gonna save this to deal with a Tovolar's Huntmaster. Gadok Teague plus the Angels from Eldritch Moon. I mean, that sounds like a reasonable strategy. I was so sad that those Angels ended up not being very good in Standard. I really wanted them to be good. Thalia, sure. That's fine. Honestly, I'm surprised to see it. I mean, the pace that this game is going, our opponent's not going to win. I have a board of ever advancing threats. They've got a Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. Okay, they're finally gonna get serious. Oh, never mind. They're not. They weren't getting serious about blocking. They were just thinking about it. We've worked through all these food tokens. Good lord. Alright, pass the turn. Oh, never mind. We had first strike, so I can still play this land tapped. So our best draw is probably just how many lands? We got 3, 7, 8. So not quite to Wrath plus Lyra. But Akaya would be strong here. What else would be good? Kaya, even Graveyard Trespasser would be quite strong. Doomblade. Just ways to continuously deal with their stuff. Alright, yeah, I'm just gonna... I'll kill this thing before they get any wolves, I guess. So this can only make other wolves fight, not itself. Attack with the 4/4. I'm going to hold back the Murderous Rider, because I'm going to make a 2/2 this turn. Here they could double block, but there's no combination of blocks that this isn't just, getting a positive trade for me, so... Okay. This is where I would have really loved for this Takenuma to have stayed in my hand. Alright, our opponent does not want to play anymore. Because we're deep into the mid-range soup, as it were. Good lord. Alright, well that was our third match. Took forever, but, you know. Oh, we got another pack. Oh, Crimson Vow, yeah. The real money. Boom, such good cards. Alright. So let's start. We'll start with the one we played just here. So what felt good, what felt bad? I don't think this is the deck for this card. I think I want a 2-drop. I just don't think this is it. I think this is dumb. That's just me being way too deep. So, we should... I feel like Tenacious Underdog... I don't know, this feels like it's good against the control decks. Like, very specifically good against control decks. So I think I'm willing to keep it in. But, like, I could easily see maybe putting that, like, a card like that into the sideboard maybe a little easier. And then the other thing I was thinking about was something along the lines. So we have ways of dealing with, like, Cat Oven, but not exactly the sacrifice deck in general. Because I don't think Doomblade is particularly great. I'm worried about having to play through, like, an Ob Nixilis that's, like, in play. It's like Doomblade. I like having one Doomblade, I think, in the main deck. Because they're, like, most of the threats you're killing in the format are either, like, red, white, or green. The occasional blue. But it could also easily be a card we cut. I think we could go, like, one extra Settle the Wreckage in the board over the Fumigate. I like the Lyra's. We didn't play it, but it is a card that is very good. Drannith Magistrate is for, like the ultimatum decks that exist, as well as like the Fires decks. Like, it stops them from being able to cast the cards off Golos, as well as like Showdown of the Scalds and stuff like that. Though I just realized we don't really have a way of dealing with any artifacts or enchantments. That might be something we're interested in having. Like, this could deal with a Fires of Invention. I don't think we want an extra copy of this anyway. I think 3 in my 75 is about where I'm comfortable. I think something that I'm interested in having would be Fragmentize. So this could destroy, like, Witch's Oven, Oni Cult, Anvil, as well as Fires of Invention. So, like, kind of like the big 3 cards I would think it needs to destroy. So I think this is the direction I want it to go for that type of effect. And then in our main deck, I really liked Kaya here. I think I want to just go up on the Kayas. And I think the other one is Heartless Act. Is this just better than Doomblade? I think it is. What else could that be? So it could be a lot of things that we play in that spot. This is another card I considered playing over Grafdigger's Cage specifically. But it doesn't stop the stuff coming in from the library is the big one. I really want this to be good, though. Because he's a doggy. might be picking up on my fan chat, just as an FYI. What else could we be playing? The fact that it has Vigilance met as lifelink also just means it can, like, pad our life total. I just don't think this is... I mean, I ultimately think it's going to disappoint no matter what, sadly, but... I think it might be another Bloodchief's Thirst. My only problem with this card is it doesn't specifically kill Winota. And then in our mana base, I think I want to play... two things. I want to play... I want to play like 2 copies of Fabled Passage. I think we cut 1 Bright Climb Pathway and 1 Shattered Sanctum. We don't need to play any more basics. And I just feel like this will help us trigger Fatal Push's Revolt side a little more. Without having to, like, kind of neg ourselves on card advantage. The Kaya's Wraths also feel... like, this is definitely the best 4-mana Wrath, but still, it just sort of feels bad. I think I'll try the Heartless Act out. I think I like some of these changes, and then I did want to try... Hearse. I think I want to try like a copy or 2 of this out. What would I play this over? Probably the Vanishing Verse. It's like a singleton copy. Actually, I think I'll try it. I'll go like that. Why the Angel, the sideboard? So, well, 2 things. So it's actually deceptively good against this thing. So you can't block the Parhelion, but you can sure as hell eat an Angel with Lyra and gain 5 life. So you'll take 4 damage from a Parhelion instead of 13, as well as it just sort of clowns mono red decks. You know, on top of all the rest of our stuff, which that is a thing in the format. As well as you could bring it in against, like, I think I bring it in against Winota. Honestly, I'm still working out the sideboard plan, but Lyra is such a, like, generically good card against aggressive strategies that it felt like it was worth playing 2. It's honestly, it's a card that I think about putting in my main deck, but a little hesitant to play 5 drops. This is the other deck we played. And there's definitely some cards, like, I really kind of want to play Voltage Surge. This feels really, really good, specifically because it can deal 4 damage. And I felt like when we were playing against, like, some of the decks we played with this one, we just couldn't do anything against some of the creatures our opponents had. So, if we're going to play Voltage Surge, I think the other thing we can do is play Scrap Heap Scrounger. So, I really like this card. And I think I really like it when I get to play cards like... And then let's... Oh, Synthesizer, that was the other one. So, I really think that we need to sort of revisit, like, how we're playing this deck. So, we've got the Cat Oven... Let's move this stuff over. We got this Cat Oven Shell, which is just realistically these 3 cards. Right, the classic combo. I feel we want to play Ob Nixilis. As a matter of fact, I even want to play 4 copies of it. So, like, we got this shell. What plays nicely with this shell already? Oni Cult Anvil is kind of a natural fit. I think Voldaren Epicure fits in with all of these strategies. I think Shambling Gas does too. I think Unlucky Witness is sadly, I think the worst part about this card is that I think if we were to go in a direction that does not involve Oni Cult Anvil, I think this card is better than Synthesizer in that scenario. But this draws one. This lets you basically get a sleight of hand basically. where this can just be a draw to, so I think this is just better than Unlucky Witness. But I do think if you're not playing Oni Cult Anvil, then the Synthesizer is probably better. Or sorry, rather the Unlucky Witness might end up being, will likely be better for you. So we've got these. This is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 4, 8. A lot of cards. A lot of cards we could keep playing. So I think the next up is the... If I want to play these, right? That's 8, 12, 16, 24, 8, 32. So that leaves me about 4 spots to play with. I think we trim 2 Shambling Ghasts. I think we play just 2 Voltage Surges. I think we play 4 Blood Tithe Harvesters. We can play... We'll have to figure out maybe some numbers here, but Deadly Dispute feels like such a natural fit for the deck. And I think there's a big contention between which of these cards is actually a better card. Specifically here. So, like, the positives, Tenacious, we'll start with Tenacious Underdog. It's still so they're both generically just 2 mana 3/2s, so that's the same. They both recur from the graveyard. So I think the decision ends up having to be, how big of a cost is it to bring Scrapheap Scrounger back versus Tenacious Underdog? So this requires we eat creatures. We've got 4, 6, 10 creatures I'd be, like, more than willing to eat with it. And then Mayhem Devil, I guess in game 1 I'd be willing to eat with it. So we got 4, 8, 12, 14 creatures. Yeah, the new Ob Nixilis is nuts. That I'm willing to eat with this, where this just requires more mana. We're probably going to be on 22 lands. So, like, being able to, like, always being able to blitz this is going to be a little difficult. But I think... Gosh, it's so tricky. I think what we'll do... I don't know if we can fit all this in. Yeah, we can't. Right, because there's already just 22 lands here, you know. So it definitely feels like these are the odd ducklings of the bunch. Because the Blood Tithe Harvester gives us a blood token, which is good with the Anvil, good with Voltage Surge. It itself is really good with Ob Nixilis. But I also feel like we need more creatures to work with this Ob Nixilis here. Because we can make 1/1s, we have a 3... maybe not. Am I just overthinking this? Like, is that really the... Is that what I'm doing here? Maybe I am just overthinking it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim 1 Cauldron Familiar. I know that seems like sacrilege in the Cat Oven decks. And I think I am going to trim the 1 Ob Nixilis. I think I would rather have... And by trim, I still think it's going to be over here. Or actually, maybe it's probably the other way around, actually. Or like Mayhem Devil feels like it's worse. It's tough. They're both really good cards. Such a hard decision. It's difficult, chat. I'm going to trim 1 Synthesizer. And I think I don't think we end up playing either of these. I think they're both quite good cards. But we'll see how Blood Tithe, we'll see how this feels, this build. Which we're going to maybe rework our mana base around a little bit, as well as our sideboard. And, if Blood Tithe Harvester proves to feel, like, very bad, then I think we can maybe look at the other 2 drops over it. But this definitely synergizes, I would say, the most with everything. Alright, so we've got, what is this? 4 proactive red pips on 1 with 5. So I think we can still start. We can go with 2 dens and the 2 hives. Still feels right. 4 blood crypts is an obvious. I don't think this is the deck to try this. Blightstep Pathway. These still feel free. probably still going to go, probably just 1 and 1, to be honest. No, a second swamp's probably correct. And I feel like we actually trimmed some Haunted Ridges. Yeah. We start looking at some lands here. So I feel like we can actually get away with maybe another, like 1 Castle Locthwain. Maybe an extra swamp. And an extra mountain. That feels fine, I guess. Is there any, actually, are there any mono red lands we could play that are anything better than Memorial to War, another Den of the Bugbear? Not really. Brahminap Ruins, but yeah, that's not really this deck. Alright, sideboard. So I do still, now we have some Voltage Surges. I think we want more Voltage Surges in the board. I think this card's, like, really, really good. I think the ley lines are not the best Graveyard Hate, and I'm not even, I think the Chandra Awakened Inferno is, that's good sideboard technology for the format. I just don't think it's good sideboard technology for this deck. Fries are really good. The Rave, Enfeeblement, Noxious Grass both feel correct. I think I like the Chandra still, though I think they're still the worst card. We're going to play 2 of the Hearse. Yeah, I don't even think this is it. I don't think Chandra's the one. So, I do want some kind of alternative threat. The problem is that we don't want it to rely on sacrificing or our graveyard, necessarily. Because those will be the things our opponent are planning to beat. So, what kind of... Maybe it is... Yeah, it's probably still just a Chandra. Like, just 2 Chandras. I don't think we really got anything else we could put in there. Okay, well, we've tweaked these a little bit. Let's try this sacrifice deck out a little more. Yeah, we played our 3 matches with each deck, and we could play that, but I really want to try Unlicensed Hearse, actually. I think that card is secretly just, like, the best piece of Graveyard Hate, because I'm even considering playing that card in my Modern deck. That card's, like, really good. It's that good. Swagmaster Clint. Okay. This is a good hand. I wouldn't mind trying that, actually. That would actually probably be... That could be... I could see that being good in a deck like this, because, again, it's like an alternative threat, but also, like, gives us, like, some options to hate graveyards. I do think its problem ends up being that it's not good against the Parhelion deck, which feels like it's probably the most prevalent form of graveyard hate we're going to have to, like, contend. Like, that's going to be where, like, the axis of what defines what is and is not good graveyard hate. Nice. We both played Castle Locthwain's tapped. Gotta give him the nice emote. I think I'm more than willing just to play on Oni Cult Anvil. Fatal Push, my dude. That feels bad. Feels like if you get 2 damage out of a Voldaren Epicure, you're probably, like, cheating your opponent. Alright, what is our opponent playing? Probably just Rakdos mid-range. Just, like, real basic variant of the deck. Because that seems to be fairly popular. No, we're on Anvil. Oh, they're just playing the 4-3. Respect. I attack with these. Okay. Did not hit a land, which kind of stinky, but I think I'm willing just to pass, actually. If I have to, I can Voltage Surge this Bone Crusher Giant, but I think either way I want to have access to being able to play, like, a Mayhem Devil. Go to our turn. Still no land. I think I'm willing. I'll play the Oni Cult Anvil here. I'm gonna kill this Graveyard Trespasser. It's actually the more worrisome of these two threats. Yep, trigger. I'll submit this guy. Right? Yeah, I'll submit that guy. Resolve. We'll discard a Cauldron Familiar. Kill that thing, and now we can just sort of pass. Because we can chump block this for like 1,000,000 years, so I'm not really all that worried about it. Sick 4/3s. I'm not a huge fan of this card right now. I think in Pioneer it's a whole like other thing, but like I think in this format, like the card is like, it seems really weak to me. Alright, what is good against them? Chandra feels like it's probably good against them. And Thoughtseize seems like it's probably really good against them. Fatal Push could be good, but I actually think I'm more willing to rely on Voltage Surge being good against them. What's bad against them? The Shambling Gas seems bad against them. Mayhem Devil seems not very good against them. In fact, might even be... I mean, I think we'll keep it in because it's still a game-winning threat. I think I'm willing to trim... No, not even willing. I'm not gonna kid myself. I'm not willing to trim. I'll trim one of these because I'm bringing in the Chomp. This card definitely gets worse the higher your mana curve gets. So it's never a bad idea to maybe trim one if you're, like, upping your mana curve. Post-sideboard. I think it's just some... I think we'll go, like, 1 and... Well, this actually trades, so I should probably keep it. Like, 1... You know what? I think I'll just cut all the synthesizers and just keep my Voltaire and Epicure in the deck. Definitely a weird sideboard. Because, like, all the cards... Like, this is a very synergy-based main deck, so it's, like, sideboarding feels kind of tenuous and clunky. I mean, this has Cat Oven in its hand, so, like, I'm willing to snap that off. Oven, go. Tap land, Kitty Cat. Kitty Cat, attack. Swamp, swamp. Alright, Cauldron Familiar. It's a tale as old as time. A cat and his oven. What does our opponent have? They have a Fable of the Mirrorbreaker. Well, for pure skill points, at least, I will entertain doing the Cat Oven combo. Let's think here. I could get this Ob Nixilis in. I think it's worth getting an Ob Nixilis down. Casualty. Sack this thing. Trigger. So here we're going to down tick to make a 1/1. That way we can keep this Cat Oven nonsense on the fast track, and we get to pad our life total really well. So this makes up for the fact that we had to shock. Oh, brutal. Discarded a Kroxa. Well, now we know they're on Kroxa. I won't lie. I do love the deck our opponent is playing, personally. But, like, at the same time, it's like, I've had very middling... It feels like the mana base of these decks is, like, particularly bad. Which is funny to say, because, like, the biggest difference between the Rakdos deck in Explorer and the Rakdos deck in Pioneer is wow, they're playing Grixis. Okay. Oh, actually, now that I think about it, these are blue-black pathways. Bold. Bold. Swagmaster Clint over there is apparently also the Asian Avenger, so / Corey Burkhart. I have no fear. I'll deal 1. Attack me! See how fast I bring a cat back and lob it at your Goblin Shaman. Otawara, that seems bad. Seems like a really bold choice in your Kroxa deck to play Otawara. Alright, well, opponent. I'm gonna teach you the brief history of pain with the back of my hand. Kitty cat, attack. Hidetsugu consumes all. That seems really rough. I actually would have probably done that I would have probably done that one pre-combat there. Oh, I suppose it kills the 2/2 as well, huh? This is the legendary one. This is the not legendary one. Okay. Well, they can't even cast this Kroxa because their mana base is terrible. So yeah, I guess we'll start with the old plus. Watch them discard card. Wait a minute. They're playing Hidetsugu Consumes All in their Kroxa deck, and they didn't take the Kroxas out? Like, that took me a minute to process. Like, that's just, like, so horrendously bad deck building. Like not to rag on our opponent, but, like, come on, do better. Like, that's just bad deck building. Also, this card isn't, like, I love this card, and I want it to be good, because it has some pretty sick artwork, but, like, by golly, is it bad for Rakdos decks in general. Graveyard Trespasser, that's a little awkward, but cool. Alright. Witch's Oven, right on time. What do I want to do here? This thing is not legendary, it's pretty notable. I think I'll start with an attack. No, because they just eat it with this thing, right? What happens if I do that? I think I'm willing to do that. Because I can sack it to this anyway. Make it 1/1? No. Huh. I don't have any blood tokens, so this activate ability does nothing. Go like this. Make a dude. Sack this dude. Kill this dude. Ping this dude. Make a 1/1. Okay, that was apparently enough. Have fun, Law and Order. Always a perfect show to fall asleep to. It's all I ever watched while in college, because it was all that was ever on at the college gym for some reason. Law and Order SVU. All right. Well, that felt like our deck was at least, what's a good word? Coherent. Like, it definitely, like, the Tenacious Underdog kind of felt out of place. We've played Kroxa in these lists, and I think it's worse than it used to be. Like, it feels like Kroxa is a little awkward with, I actually think I keep this. This is a super greedy keep, but, like, I'm gonna believe in the Voldaren Epicure's blood token. It is the best Law and Order. Have a good night, Lo-Fi. Never didn't have it. I'm the greatest there ever was, chat. I mean, I'm willing to trade it if they are. Culture. Alright, is there another land on top of our deck, chat? That isn't a creature land. Is there an untapped land on top of my deck? That's the real question. Oh no, oh no. Friends don't let friends play Snarls because they're bad. Oh, is this Beef Company? Hell yeah. Love this deck. Actually, we can just wait, so. Sulkin's on. That's a good one. I don't really have a way of dealing with this Ronus, but, like. I got plays for days killing this Llanowar Elves. So this is a classic deck from, like, old school historic of all things, where you, can't. Oh, damn it, it can't block either. I always forget. I always feel like it's the, there's another god that's similar to Ronus that, it's a Lovestruck Beast can block. Oh, interesting. Plays the land I don't know about. Reginald. My friend. Does that trample? It does not. Ronus is a real big pain in the ass for us to deal with, to be fair. So our opponent should be at one less life, but we're big dummies, as it turns out, so. Alright, yeah, we'll go to my turn. Well, I mean, that's pretty good. Go ahead and just think here. I can kill Reginald here. Let me think here. Can I kill Reginald in their upkeep? That's the real question. So sack 1, sack the food 2, sack 3, sack the food 4. Sack this thing 5. No, I'm just shy, so I'm going to have to do it now. This also lets me attack for 4, which isn't bad, so. As well as, you know, obviously all the Cauldron familiar triggers. This is the power. You gotta believe in the Cat Oven combo. Because it is stupid. Alright. So they're dead on our turn. They have to try and do their best to kill us. And as it turns out, they cannot. So, feels good. What's good here? Noxious Grasp is good here. Voltage Surge is pretty mediocre here. But Fatal Push might be something. So I feel like we go like this. Ob Nixilis feels a little bad against them. Because, like, we're going to have to, like, really focus on dealing with their creatures. So I'm going to trim a couple Ob Nixilis. And then, like... Actually, it's probably just another Ob Nixilis. Like, I think I'm willing to keep one in, but that might even be better served as, like, being, like, a Voltage Surge. Though, I imagine they're going to have... If they have exactly Steel Leaf Champion, Voltage Surge is a correct card to bring in. Yeah, I'll bring in one over there. Ob Nixilis is strong, but, like... I don't... Maybe on the play we want, like, 2 copies of it in a matchup like this, but it just feels like it can get run over. Which I don't really like. On the play, it's an easier sell. I mean, this is the greatest hand of all time. Okay. Okay. Alright, real talk. Yeah, we just push this. Push it. Push it real good. No 2-drop? Shit, it's a Werewolf Pack Leader. That's a good one. Sulkin's Badland. The new Badlands, chat. This is a card that feels like it only gets played because it's free, which I don't think is actually a good thing. I think that's really unhealthy. Like, from, like, just a pure design standpoint. The good news is we can just chump block the shit out of this Werewolf Pack Leader for days. I'm fading combat damage. Strong. I mean, next turn this can start. I told you, chat. They have Steel Leaf Champion. Voltage Surge. Oh, Mayhem Devil. Is that better? I think we just play that. Actually, I think we can go this turn. Because we can afford to take 5 once. That's fine. It's not a big deal. Play, what do you call it? Anvil. Do this just to get the 1-1. This becomes a 5-3. So no matter what, they're going to get to draw a card, and we're not going to be able to deal with this. Is this worth doing? I don't think the answer is yes. So I think we just chump block and then eat. We cook. Take our 5, eat our medicine. Snarl. Scooge. It's brutal. Absolutely brutal. I mean, you're going to have to do it with this on the stack, otherwise it's going to get real bad real fast. I'm about to show you what makes Scavenging Ooze not so good here. I'm even going to get to fade the trigger entirely, so. If they have another Scavenging Ooze here, that would be brutal. So they could grow it up to a 5-5 right away. Yeah, we just gotta fade the one, fade and sack it to Anvil. So the real kind of what feels like almost a scummy thing you can do with this deck is where you never even have to kill the creatures your opponent plays. You just have to like not die to them. It's just like a collected company. I'll put a thing on the stack. Okay, well I'll put another thing on the stack. Okay, how bad could it possibly be? I feel like I can attack with the 1/1s, but not the Mayhem Devil. Yep. So this is an old, yeah, this is the Beef Company deck, is what we used to call it back in the day. Can I deal with what they're doing? We're going to go like this. We're going to attempt to kill the Scavenging Ooze. Well, I mean, I guess I can actually sack one of these guys. They're going to go for it. I'm going to get to eat it for free. Might have been able to do that better or cleaner, but either way, I think it's fine. Yep, they get to eat my cat. Yeah, I think I could have did that better. I could have sacked the attacking creature and then sacked this cat to the oven and been left with one more untapped creature, but I think this is still fine. They're very dead on the battlefield, let's put it that way. This is an easy, well, Heartless Act. Well, now maybe not. Now they might have a chance. Especially if that last card in their hand is anything meaningful. Or last 2 cards in their hand are anything meaningful. This feels like a swing with the team. Now, I'm willing to just take 8 here. Let's attack with the team. They have another collected company. That's about as bad as it gets. We'll see what they hit at least. Fairly confident I'm actually just dead, but... Ronas plus a Steel Leaf champion. Well, I can't block 2 Steel Leaf champions. They're just going to block all 3, yeah. And that Ronas can give everything into, trample, right? Yeah, +2/+0 and trample. 12, 13. I'm taking 10. I suppose this can block one of them. I'm taking, like, way too much. Yeah, I'm just stone cold dead here, huh? Yeah, we'll just go to the next one. I am dead. That Heartless Act was real strong. And the second collected company, of course. But, alright. Maybe we bring in Thoughtseize on the play? That feels like it could be reasonable. I think we'll bring out one synthesizer. I'll bring in the Voltage Surge, actually. I feel like we can just go like that. Like, the Surge definitely is looking better than it was, because, like, now we know they have Scavenging Ooze, we know they have Steel Leaf Champion. We know, of course, they have the 1-mana guy, so just being able to, like, deal with all those things seems like a good place to be. And it's coming up on 10:30, so this will likely be our last match of the night here. Oh, that's a mulligan. That's a begrudging keep. It's on. We're on the play. We have some proactive stuff, but we don't have any interactive stuff, which is actually the more important parts of our deck. But we do have the blood tokens to dig deeper. On top of that, we have the synthesizer, which I feel very comfortable playing on turn 3 or later. Turn 4 would be ideal. We'll play the Epicure. Alright. Snarl go. Get in for 1. We'll play the Harvester. We're going to play the beatdown rule, I guess, for the first chunk of the game. Werewolf Pack Leader, sure. I'm going to attack for 3, at least this time. We'll go land. I actually think I'm going to go Voltaren Epicure here. So the thought process is that if I play this and they just, like, say, have a removal spell, that puts them in actually a super favorable position. Where here, if they have something like a attack for 3, I take 3, play Steel Leaf Champion, I can, like, deal with that. Can also, this sets me up to be able to deal with, like, say, a Ronas if it comes down here, which is actually quite important to deal with. Oh, they're just going to Heartless Act that. That's fine. I'm really okay with that. Grafdigger's Cage, sure. I think our opponent's going to find that that's actually not a card I care all that much about. I'm going to deal with that. Attack for 2. Not ideal how that worked out. Could have also sacked it, not played the... no, I needed to play the land. No, I had the swamp in my hand, not the haunted ridge. Steel Leaf Champion. That feels a little awkward, but alright. Again, I'm going to play the Harvester first. Because here, again, the Harvester can kill the big threat. I can play like a Mayhem Devil, and the Harvester can kill a big threat, because it gives it -6/-6. They are all in on just dealing with these Harvesters. Which I'm fine with. I actually feel fairly confident racing here. Sure. I don't really think I need a Hive of the Eye Tyrant. So we'll sack this, dump a Hive, kill the 1/1. Get in for 2 here. Pass the turn. Shambling Ghast isn't fantastic. Reginald is quite bad for us. No, let's actually sack. I don't think... The Shambling Ghast isn't really doing anything, so we'll just go like this. That's awkward. Play this. We'll play Cauldron Familiar. It does gain us up to 8. This is until the end, until end of turn you may play that card, so it does not work on that stuff. Also, by the way, they have Grafdigger's Cage and Collected Company in the same deck. That's like a very big nombo. This stops Collected Company from doing anything. So here, I have to be willing to take 5, if they're willing to attack. Though I don't think our opponent can, like, that's not, like, it's not free to attack for 5. I'm willing to take 5 here. Another Regisaur, sure. Oni Cult Anvil. I'll play the Anvil. Okay, that's actually a really good draw here. I won't lie, full power Reginalds are a little scary. So again, now they're in a position, again, they cannot go with an all-out attack this turn. Because now I can just chump block 2 Regisaurs and then eat the Steel Leaf, trade one of the Devils for a Steel Leaf Champion, and then they're just dead on the crackback. Because they're down to 5, I'll have 4 power plus an Oni Cult Anvil, which deals 2 damage here, and the Blood Token, which deals an additional point of damage. Notice that Grafdigger's Cage, by the way, did just nothing in the matchup. Like, that didn't help them in any way. That actually, I would say, it actually made that Collected Company in their hand just do nothing. Alright, they have a land, and they're dead. I wonder if they've put this together. And they can animate this into, like, what is that, a 2/2, and then I can just Voltage Surge to kill it. I'll sack this even to do the extra point of damage. Sack 1, sack 2. So, let me just think here, though. So I did forget about that. So they would have been, because this would have been like, they animate this, I sack this to draw a card, deal 1, sack this, trigger, puts them to 5, they take 2. Okay, it would have been very dependent on what the top card of my deck was. I can actually submit 0 here, right? I mean, I suppose I'll still submit 1. It doesn't matter. Does 1 extra point of damage. Yeah. So yeah, I'd actually argue that Grafdigger's Cage did more damage against them than it did against me. So, one of the things I will say is that I'm not a huge fan of Grafdigger's Cage against Sacrifice decks. I never have been. Like, it's not that it's bad, it's that it's not nearly as good as people want it to be. That'd probably be my best way of describing it, where it's like, you know, when you actualize how it plays out in the matchup, it's like, it never plays out where it was, like, super impactful all of the time. Cool. Body Launderer. And, and a draft token. We'll probably do a draft sometime. So, like, Grafdigger's Cage is, like, it's really, so, like, in historic, Grafdigger's Cage was always good because of the Muxus and Collected Company decks that might be running around. Collected Company being a small part of the format, but Muxus being at various points a very big part of the format. So, it was always a, always a big deal to have it, so you'd bring it in against the Sacrifice decks, because it did do stuff, but, like, our deck, like, especially when you look at our deck list, we have 3 Cauldron Familiars that come back from our graveyard. We don't even play Croxes in our deck, meaning there are 3 cards in our deck that it makes bad, and by bad, I mean, like, they're still fine, because, like, it's the act of sacrificing the Cauldron Familiar that's actually, like, creating the power versus, like, having to, like, bring it back from the graveyard, which still generates a lot of power, but, like, it doesn't get rid of the floor of just sacrificing it. And then you look at that game where our opponent was on a Collected Company deck and they brought it in, it was even worse. Alright, I think that'll be it for us tonight. It's about 10:30. Of course, pretty good stream, I'd say. Good showing for both these decks. Definitely decks that I'll be playing with a lot more in the future. It feels like we got the Rakdos Sacrifice deck in a really good place, especially. Like, this feels quite strong. And looking at all these cards, there are 4 Mythics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, besides the lands are the most expensive part of this deck, and I guess technically the sideboard, because, yeah, this is a pile of commons and uncommons, and then, like, 4 Mythics. And I feel like the Ob Nixilis, it definitely does a lot of work. Like, that 1/1 that it makes is actually quite good, as well as the fact that we're sacrificing stuff. The Blood-Tithe Harvesters all felt super good. I could still see trying out Scrapheap Scrounger and trying more with Tenacious Underdog, but they definitely feel like they've just been worse than the Harvester, at least in these decks. I feel like there are decks for Tenacious Underdog, it's just not these decks. What else? Any other notes? Sideboard definitely something that's going to be evolving. That needs to be very fluid, as well as we need to get a little bit of a grasp on what we can sideboard out. And then we played this black-white mid-range deck as well. This one's definitely, I feel, a little weaker. If I was playing in a tournament, and I was planning to play against a lot of, like, Winota / mono-red decks, this would be a deck I'd heavily consider there. You know, the most awkward thing is the Tenacious Underdog, in my opinion. It's definitely been, like, our creature suite has definitely felt weird. Like, Graveyard Trespasser is a good card, but it is in, like it is in a lot of decks, a little clunky. Like, that's just sort of been my general vibe that I've gotten from playing with it. So I am interested to see if we can fix that about this deck. Because I think this is just going to be... Because the other thing I was thinking about that we could do with a deck like this is, if you wanted to make it more proactive, you could go into, like, Angel Tribal, which I think we might try a little bit with. In the in the future with this archetype, where we play, because like Giada, if you wanted to like, because like the most awkward part of the deck I would say is like these two cards, and like if this was just like 4 Giadas, right, and like this was just like a single Legion Angel, and then I have some in the sideboard, and like some other decent angel creatures. So like if I look in black and white and I go angel, I could play again. Legion Angel was one. Resplendent Angel, not as good, but still a decent one. Angel of Sanctions is a neat one that I've thought about playing, as well as like Baneslayer Angel. Lyra is a good one. Yeah, where we could just like, because we've talked about even bringing the Lyras into the main deck as well. There's also even things like Eradicator Valkyrie. This is a card that did not see a lot of play in Standard, and I mean, I guess it still does in Kaldheim's in Standard, but it definitely feels like one like where like that hexproof from Planeswalkers doesn't come up a lot right now, but like it definitely could. But just being a 4-mana 4/3 with flying and lifelink, and the fact that like you could curve into Giada and it's a 4-mana 5/4 flying and lifelink is a pretty big deal. Then there's of course always like Liaison, even Seraph of the Scales is a card. This is again, if it comes down as a 5/4 and you can give it Vigilance, that just feels like a really solid attacker / blocker. It's resilient against removal, although one of the biggest removal spells for it has always been and continues to be what's its name? Lava Coil. And then Liesa being just another solid 5-mana angel threat. It definitely feels like that's like if you were to play like where these were, you take these out and put 4 Giada in their place, and we go like we put an emphasis on we get to play 1 Legion Angel, and then probably play like 1 Angel of Sanctions in the main, maybe an extra in the board. I'd probably go with just I mean, you could go with any of them really, because it feels like Eradicator Valkyrie can offer like like one of the things I actually like about Eradicator Valkyrie with specifically Giada is that when Giada stops being, so like there's a curve here where you go Giada, turn 3 attack for 2, play Eradicator Angel, get the big life linking blocker, go to your next turn, attack for 7, right? Either play another Angel, right? And we'll be at a point where we're going to have access to up to 5 mana, so we could play something like an Angel of Sanctions or even a Lyra if we wanted. Or we could, of course, attack, and then we can, like, sacrifice Giada to the Eradicator Valkyrie to eat a creature on the or a Planeswalker on the opposing side of the battlefield. Like, there definitely feels like there's something there, but that's definitely more of, like, an aggressively slanted mid-range deck. And it feels like it'll be doing something different than what this deck is trying to do, which this is definitely very much a Wandering Emperor Settle the Wreckage deck. I don't even know if this is the best place for that combination of cards, though. That's the other thought that I've been having with this deck, is that it definitely feels like that this suite of 4-drops is really good, but maybe it needs to be in a different color combination. One that comes to mind is actually Bant. Bant feels really strong. The only concern I have is that, like, if you're on the draw against Winota, like, Growth Spiral into Settle the Wreckage is just too slow. Maybe it's Obscura. That might be another option. I will say the Vanishing Burst has been a little disappointing in the format. Yeah, I feel like, why don't we actually just, we got a little time. I want to always be wrapping up at around 10:30. So I've got, it is 10:34, never mind. So I think what we'll do is for our next Orzhov iteration is I'll even at least get this put together. We're going to go Orzhov Angels. So I definitely feel like there's something here as far as like a powerful deck goes. I could even see playing like 2 main deck Lyra and Angel of Sanctions. I feel like it'll end up being I'm gonna try the Eradicator Valkyrie. I feel like just having the 4/4 drops is probably fine. And then like still the base of Thoughtseize. Fatal Push. Thirst. Don't know if we'll play 4, but just throwing that number in for now. Actually, matter of fact, one of the things we could think about as well is, are there any lower drop angels we could play that have like actual like meaning? Like Youthful Valkyrie is probably it. Feels like it would be a little too clunky on its own. I feel like we could even go that route where we have just enough. I feel like we'll go like a 2-2 and split and see how we end up feeling about it. So we'll play these. I feel like we can still play a Containment Priest. It's still a fine card to have access to in our 75. Cage is still a fine card to have access to. Settle the Wreckage. Feels like this will end up being more of a deck where we would sideboard Settle the Wreckage. Wandering. Still feel like we play the Wandering Emperor. We just don't play it as a 4 of. Definitely don't mind having. Because I feel like on the package where I'm bringing in the Settles, I probably want more Wandering Emperors anyway. I still think Doomblade is probably a fine 1 of in the main. And I think we'll try we're gonna play Heartless Act. Actually, let's just go with Heartless Act. Just in general. I did like the Vanishing Verse a lot. So, this version we won't be playing the Trespasser. But that does mean we have like the realm to just like play a 2-drop on 1 plus a feels like this version we could get away with 1 Cave of the Frost Giant. Cave of the Frost Dragon rather. And now here we'll go like 4, 4, 4, 4. That puts me now at 21 lands. Mitsuki, hello. First time chatter, Mitsuki. How are you doing tonight? I feel like I could have, like, not in the main, but 1 extra in the board. It's a good catch-all. I'm doing alright. We're, just wrapped up playing, 9 matches on the ladder of Explorer, just trying out, an Orzhov mid-range deck, here in Explorer, as well as a Rakdos Sacrifice list. Feels like this version. I think I'll trim 1 copy of this. Play. This is Magic Arena. Or I guess the tabletop version would be Magic the Gathering. More specifically. We'll cut 1 Hive to play a 2nd Swamp. This is definitely, I would say, more. So it's a card game. So it'd be a strategy tabletop game. This being the a digital client that you can play the game on as well against people online. But yeah, it'd be a strategy card game. Cancel. Don't wanna not save my deck here. What other elements of the other deck do we like? I think we'll play a third Wandering Emperor. And then I did like the idea of having access to some way of dealing with... yes, Mitsuki. I am. What else would we want? I feel like maybe we can play one, not one Settle the Wreckage in the main, no. That's probably too cute. Yeah, well, I play a few things. So it's primarily this, because I do play this game not only here on my stream, I also, I travel around and I play competitively various events in the region that I'm from. So definitely a something that I stream, but not only do I stream, I also have a lot of, we'll say, commitments to just in general. But besides this, I do, outside of my normal streaming days, if I'm streaming, I may play, various RPGs on stream, things like that. Like tomorrow night, we're going to be having a... that we're going to be playing probably a variety stream night, and I'm thinking we're going to go towards playing something like I just downloaded Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. I think we'll bring it. I think 2 Rest in Peace seems fine. Actually, you know what? Actually, Hearse. I'll play 1 Rest in Peace. Then I'm actually gonna go with 1 main board on License Hearse, and then a second one. I can't bring myself to do that. I'll still play 2 Hearse. I'll try it over the Rest in Peace. I feel like just a second Vanishing Verse. Call 1 from over here. So that's what that'll probably be my next variety game, is playing Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. Because usually when I play something that isn't Magic, it is strictly for my own enjoyment. Play a 3rd Settle. I think that's probably fine. Orzhov Angels. So this being our original Orzhov mid-range list we tried tonight. Yeah, this one definitely... I like these cards individually. I'm just not sure if they are actually all that amazing. Here. I am curious about also revisiting... like Rakdos mid-range. Yes, I did have my dinner. I made dinner for myself and my partner earlier today. So I feel like we could revamp this archetype as well, in like a pretty meaningful way. Okay, well again, this is another black-based mid-range deck, so it is going to be focused on having these on 1. We'll play Epicure Harvester. Not actually been a huge fan of Kroxa lately. Play the Ob Nixilis. So I feel like if you're playing Fable of the Mirrorbreaker, you can get away with Kroxa. But beyond that, it's been feeling. I'm committed, Mitsuki. Not exactly married yet. I feel like Bone Crusher Giant is the cut. Mitsuki, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna talk about my partner on my stream. Unless they're on the stream with me, then I'll talk about them. So this definitely feels like the direction we're taking this version. We can play this. So this is the version that I think we could get away with playing on Lucky Witness. And I think we can play, like, so how many lands does this one play? 24s. We actually have room to cut. I feel like we can just play, like, Deadly Dispute. You know what the problem is here, though? Is that this deck is just turning into... It feels like when we go that direction with the deck, it just turns into this deck. Just like, this deck is doing all the things that deck was doing, just like... It, like, you know, isn't being cute about it. And this is a deck we've actually really liked playing. So I think, yeah, I feel like when you go the other direction from, like, away from the Cat Oven and these Rakdos decks, like, you end up, I feel like, where, like, you should just be going into Jund. And, like, you could make the argument that this is maybe too expensive, so you cut this, play this, open up your mana base to utility lands, and then you even have two free spots left over. But, like, even then, it's just, like, I feel like the Isekai's Chariot with Ob Nixilis combination is probably just really, really strong. And then from a sideboard perspective... Yeah, we got 4 Fatal Push in the main, so and even the 3 Voltage Surge, so it feels like we're pretty well set up to deal with a wide variety of threats, and then we just have the supplemental removal. 4 Thoughtseizes. I doubt, unless we're playing a stone, like, blue-white control, I doubt that this card is very good right now, which pains my heart to say, because I love it so much. And the Bousseijus, I don't know if it's Bousseiju. I don't think Bousseiju is the card here. So first and foremost, because we're going to keep trying this card until we find out if it's good or not. I'm going to play 2 Unlicensed Hearse, and I'm going to cut these Soul Guide Lanterns. I'm going to cut the Duress. I'm going to cut these Bousseijus. I feel like if I want an answer to an enchantment, I should just be playing... Return to Nature, that's the one. Ooh, there's a new artwork. I'm gonna go... Oh, it's not the OG, that's right. I'll go with the OG one. Play some Return to Natures. And then, I feel like we could potentially trim a Thoughtseize. So this gives us plenty of answers to artifacts. We have our Unlicensed Hearses. Token. Is there anything else I feel like we could be playing? Actually, you know what? I actually do think we can just... I think we can put 1 copy of Trespasser in. Extra piece of Graveyard Hate on top of being just an alternative threat we can bring in, but that's quite powerful. It is just generally good with the Fable of the Mirrorbreaker as well, being able to make copies of it. It's very strong. So, sounds like we have, you know, just deck after deck after deck. I did get some interest from somebody about building around, what the hell is his name? Lord Xander. This thing. So, when Lord Xander the Collector enters the battlefield, target opponent discards half the cards in their hand, rounded down. Okay. When it attacks, they mill half their library. Cool. Just dies, destroy target. Oh, I'm sorry. The target opponent sacrifice half their non-land. Okay. I mean, we'll try it. Vampire. So, this is definitely terrible if we're casting it, but it's really good, I guess, if we're cheating it into play. It's a vampire, so Sorin Imperia's Bloodlord comes to mind. And so does Olivia? Right, because this Olivia... It's like 3, 6, 7... And then we could play like Tainted Indulgence. Target creature. So it feels like we could get away with like... Hey, just get away with a lot. Just play like Charter Course / Tainted Indulgence. Probably even like Strategic Planning. But you just have all these 2-mana enablers, and then like you just maximize on these. Because if you have like if these are both in your graveyard, you can Bond of Revival Olivia back, which will get you back Lord Xander, and then I believe. It's tapped and attacking. So you don't get the attack trigger, you do get the ETB though. And as a matter of fact, this is a legendary vampire, meaning it it gains you when you don't control legendary vampire exile. It means it actually satisfies its own drawback. And then on top of it, you can, if you get just Lord Xander in the graveyard, you could Sorin out Olivia to get back Lord Xander, or you can just Sorin out Lord Xander, which all feels very reasonable. And then it feels like we could just be like a fatal push. So we've got some disruptive elements. We've got our combo elements. Feels very much like strategic planning's probably the worst bit. Heartless Act. Let's play like just some removal plus our combo stuff. So the removal gets us to the, can help us stabilize and not like immediately die. And then our sideboard's probably pretty straightforward. What do we do in our sideboard here? It's probably like Ray of Enfeeblement. Just like some cheap interaction that's potent. Seems good. No. Noxious Grasp seems fine. Ashiok seems fine. So this gives us some cheap interaction. This gives us a potent... Actually, you know what? I don't even think Ashiok's it. I think it's Hearse. So it's cheap. And as far as alternative threats go... So I imagine we could just go like... We could play the other Sorins, I guess. Edgar. Like we could play Edgar, I guess. Legendary Vampire. So, what other legendary vampires are there? There's Angie, there's Florian. There's, I guess, this card. Can't be blocked. Deals combat at exile target creature that player controls and put a hit counter on that card. That player loses the game if they own 3 or more exile cards. Shadows on their show. Okay, so that's not very good, actually. Well, the answer was not a whole lot of good ones. Vona is strong, but, like, that requires us to play white. Seems a little bit of a stretch. Forgot that one's a vampire. Not a whole lot of good ones, to say the least. Not fantastic either. Cormella is probably the only one I could see playing. If we play any, I guess. She's strong, and she actually interacts fairly positively. I actually don't even think we're a Thoughtseize deck, at least in our main deck. So I could see us playing, like, Cormella, and then, like, is there a charm we might want to play? Maestro's Charm. 5 damage to our creature Planeswalker. That's actually a really solid card. It actually lets us set up our combo while also being a piece of interaction. Just gotta be careful because it's 3 mana is all. Okay. So we definitely are a blue-black base deck. So we're definitely going to want Clearwater slash this Murkwater pathway, as well as our Watery Graves. And then I feel like we can dip over to here, play Blightstep pathway pretty easily. Probably just 2 Blood Crypts. And I feel like we can just play some Haunted Ridges, 2 Haunted Ridges as well. And then similarly over here, it again feels like we're on more of our pathways. It's a little awkward that we only have the 1 fast land, but it's fine. We just play that. It's a pretty aggressive mana base, but I feel like for proof of concept, we could just start there. We can always work basics in if we feel the need to. And I feel like, yeah, we could probably just play like another Thoughtseize in our sideboard. So I have like 3 Thoughtseizes in the board. I'm thinking like a Fry. Or 2 is probably fine. Maybe even some, like, Disputes. Not a whole lot of counterspell decks running around to begin with, but definitely not something I think I mind having. And then probably just, like 1 extra copy of Heartless Act, which I feel like I could cut, like, 1 of the Noxious Grasps for. Similarly, I think I can cut Trim a Fry. Maybe we play like a Disdainful Stroke. Seems like it could be reasonable for us. I actually think I'm down to play like 2 copies of that even. Maybe just 1. Let's play 1. Could see playing Essence Scatter if we wanted a counterspell that's good against creatures, but that's probably a little too deep of a stretch. Actually, we could go like Kolaghan's Command seems pretty reasonable, because like a secret thing you could do with Kolaghan's Command and like a deck like this that's like really deep into, that could set up potential like Reanimator turns, is it's just like, you know, you could, I'm not even convinced that Bond of Revival is the correct thing to be doing, by the way, but I just think it's cool to start with, is that you can target yourself for the discard on this card and like set up a big reanimator turn by just like holding up mana and interacting with our opponent. Alright, that is going to be probably the weirdest deck we play in the next couple weeks, but alright. Xander build around. Alright, well that's going to be it for the stream tonight. Of course, appreciate everybody checking out the channel. Of course, if you haven't already and you want to stay up to date with my content, you can of course hit that follow button. You can also find me over at YouTube by typing !YouTube in the chat, or if you're watching on YouTube already, welcome, welcome. Appreciate you. I'm happy to have everybody on all platforms, of course. I'm sorry, as of right now, I know the YouTube chat doesn't pop up on my overlay. It's a little bit tricky on getting that all set up as of right now, but I am working on that. Of course, if you want to stay up to date with what I'm doing when I'm not live, you can also follow me on Twitter by typing !Twitter in the chat as well. So, of course, again, I appreciate you all for watching. We will see you